This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening and welcome to the February 19th, 2025 South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners meeting. I will call this meeting to order. We have all commissioners present this evening. At this time, I would ask you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to announce that all public sessions of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners are electronically recorded, filed, and posted to the Township website for public access. At this time, I'll ask our Township Manager, Tom Petrucci, to review our public virtual meeting rules.
Thank you. The public virtual meeting rules are as follows. Courtesy of the floor for non-agenda items will be at the beginning and end of the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. For all listed agenda items, the board president will call for courtesy of the floor prior to the Board of Commissioners taking action on that specific agenda item. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record and may then proceed with asking your question. For those participating virtually, please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid any background noise that may cause interference during the meeting. The chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your full name and address into the chat box. The staff member monitoring GoToMeeting will then unmute your microphone and you will have the opportunity to comment or ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I'd also like to announce the Board of Commissioners met in executive session prior to tonight's meeting to discuss legal and personnel matters. Agenda item 4 is courtesy of the floor. This is opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on any non-agenda items. Is there anyone present this evening that would like to address the board? Is there anyone online? Very good. Thank you. Hearing and seeing none, I'll move on to agenda item 5, presentations. We have our 2024 Park and Recreation Board annual report, and I'll recognize our Park and Rec Manager, Lynn Matula. Good evening.
Everyone, thank you. The ordinance calls for the Park and Rec Board to submit an annual report, and that's what you have in front of you. So it just details the scope of what the board looks to do, goals, accomplishments of the year, recaps the plans they reviewed, just a nice overview of the year, and then what their goals and hopes are for the next coming year, what they'd like to accomplish. And if there are any questions.
Very good, Lynn. Thank you. Certainly want to recognize and thank all of the Park and Recreation Board members for volunteering their time and talent and for the recommendations that they do make for our overall recreation programs as well as our parks and for the work that you do to implement all of those. So thank you. It's a very well done report, a lot of information. Especially thankful at the very end. There's a chart with the different land developments that they reviewed and the recommendations. Very, very helpful information. And of course, it's very good to update this board with the programs and recommendations that they're looking for even in this coming calendar year. So please do express our gratitude to all the members.
Yes, I definitely will. Thank you. We have a great board, the Park and Rec Board. They're all very engaged and very excited to help in any way they can. And all very open as well for any suggestions or any resident suggestions or ideas. They would love participation and they're a great group. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I would just add, the parks are obviously the most visible part of what the board does and what you do. But just the sheer volume and variety of programs that I've every time I'm on the Parks and Rec Facebook page, it's just there's another program, a new initiative. It's really great, and the service you provide. I know that's a lot of work on your end, and obviously the time that our Parks and Rec Board members take to volunteer and come out and help at those events. It's just it's a great addition to the community. So that's it's not the most public facing part. Obviously, everyone sees the park in their neighborhood or they drive by a covered bridge, but those programs require a lot of time, and the benefit they have for the residents is really incredible. So thanks to you and all of them for generating the ideas and then seeing them through. It's really great.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. But there's a lot of support with that, from management, from Tom and Herb, and then obviously the board. So our rec board is starting to volunteer at events, and it's extremely helpful. And they're really all, like I said, they're a great group and they're very engaged. So we're very lucky.
Thanks for all your hard work and for the board as well. Well said, both of you. I echo your sentiments. And this report will also be placed on the website, right, Tom? So tomorrow the public can view it as well.
Yes.
I think it's important for our public to see what you're doing and how engaged you are. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I will definitely pass that on.
Obviously, you do a wonderful job. I mean, you have a wait list for the summer park program, so that just speaks of itself. I was looking through here, and they mentioned about additional recreational programs. Do they have any ideas or thoughts? Or are they going to come and say, hey, we'd like to do a 5K through the trail to show people how, I'm just using that as an example, but do they have anything specific that they would like to see improved? Same thing with, like they meant about more concerts or events. Do they have any ideas of, bringing the Queen cover band or something into the park? Whatever it may be. Do they have any things to help achieve those goals?
They haven't mentioned any specific programs or events like that. They've veered towards reviewing plans and looking at open space a little more. They are getting a little bit more involved in the programs, just even by simply just suggesting things. And that's one of the things that they are going to bring a couple suggestions probably to the next meeting. It's something that we just discussed actually, because as residents, we really would love to hear their feedback on what programs do you think are missing. We've discussed senior programs. We've discussed, like you suggested, the concerts. They love the concerts in the park, which as a lot of people do, and we're planning those. But they've been kind of putting those opinions in as broad opinions for now, and then they'll definitely come with some specific suggestions as kind of like a fun homework assignment that we've talked about. So
Yeah,
I'm hoping to get some.
Mark and Terry and some of the others are active in the athletic side. We used to have basketball. I don't know if it was a basketball league or basketball tournament at that end of the park. See if they could come up with ideas to get more usage from that end of the park, so people can see it and enjoy it and help bring attention to it. Because now it's, if I'm not mistaken, the path is going to go from Lap Road up to the high school. Isn't that the next stage or something?
That's the next phase, yeah. Funding source has to be identified, but we are designing through that phase.
So if they could come up with ideas, and because, like you said, they're citizens, they talk to people, right? See what it would be nice to see if they say, hey, we'd like to do a baseball tournament on our, on those fields, whatever it may be, but
Sure.
something.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Any other comments from the board? Lynn, thank you again for your work in Parks and Rec, and also for the work of the board. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item 6 is meeting minutes from our February 5th, 2025 meeting. They've been distributed. Does the board have any comments or questions? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Seconds, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 7A, ordinances. We have an ordinance of the Township of South Whitehall, County of Lehigh, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Part 1, Administrative Legislation, Chapter 58, Pension Plans, Article 5, Public Works Union Employees Pension Plan of the Codified Ordinances of South Whitehall Township at Section 58-52, Employer and Employee Contributions. A, Employee Contributions, to establish the required employee contribution amount as the amount required under the then current collective bargaining agreement between the Township and the Public Works Union as approved by resolution annually by the Board of Commissioners, repealer, severability, and effective date. And Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So before you this evening is the consideration of the adoption of an amendment to the Public Works Union Employees Pension Plan that would essentially take the rate that is in the ordinance, which is 1%, and needs to be amended every year based on the collective bargaining agreement. It would take that rate And instead of having it memorialized in the ordinance itself, this ordinance would essentially allow you to change the rate each year by resolution. So that you wouldn't have to go through the advertising process, and you would be following the collective bargaining agreement that's in effect at that time. So with that being said, I would seek a motion to adopt the ordinance as advertised.
Very good. Are there any comments or questions from the board? Any public comment? Nothing online. Do I have a motion to adopt said ordinance amendment? Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And item 7B, an ordinance of the Township of South Whitehall, County of Lehigh, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Part 1, Administrative Legislation, Chapter 58, Pension Plans, Article 4, Police Pension Plan of the Codified Ordinances of South Whitehall Township at Section 58-29, Definitions, to restate the definition for the Deferred Retirement Option Program, DROP, repealer, severability, and effective date. Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So since January 1st, 2012, the township, through the process of collective bargaining, has been allocating 0.5% annual interest to any DROP program participants in the police department. So that's the Deferred Retirement Option Program. Also, employees may remain as employees for up to 3 years while their normal retirement benefit is segregated from the overall pension plan. So in looking at the plan document in the ordinance, those two processes weren't correctly defined for whatever reason. So the ordinance before you tonight changes the definition for the DROP program to confirm the 3-year participation period, and then the interest-bearing account at the annual rate of interest equal to 0.5%. So this is memorializing the actions that the township is already doing pursuant to collective bargaining. It's just making sure our plan document is consistent with those practices.
Very good.
So I'd seek a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. We've seen this before. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said ordinance amendment?
Motion. Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And item 8A, resolutions. We have a resolution establishing the required employee contribution amount for the South Whitehall Township Public Works Union Pension Plan for the year January 1, 2025 to December 31, 2025. Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So this is a follow-up to Ordinance 7A, which is now in effect. Pursuant to the ordinance, you can establish the pension contribution amount for employees for this year, which would be consistent with the CBA, which is in effect as of January 1st of this year through 2029. For 2025, however, the pension contribution rate is 1.75%. So the resolution before you is confirming the 1.75% rate that has already been negotiated and agreed upon by the union.
Very good. Thank you. Open up to the board. Any comments or questions? Any public comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And item 8B, we have a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of South Whitehall, Lehigh County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, approving a sidewalk maintenance agreement between South Whitehall Township and the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the State Route 309 Betterment Project. Tom, if you please present.
Thank you. So as part of the 309 Betterment Project, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation is installing sidewalks that require the acknowledgement of the associated maintenance responsibilities of the improvements in the formative agreement between the Township and PennDOT. So the plans that you had included in your packets show existing sidewalk in yellow and proposed sidewalk and ADA curb ramps in light blue. The plans show most of the sidewalks and new ADA ramps to be installed within PennDOT's right-of-way. The department has agreed to install the sidewalks and the curb ramps with the agreement that upon completion, maintenance responsibility is to be turned over to the township. So that is PennDOT's standard requirement. The plans depict the sidewalk connection between the township's new sidewalk at this municipal complex along Walbert, which would then run to the intersection of 309 and Walbert Avenue. So we would be completing our own network of sidewalk on our own campus here. The sidewalk maintenance agreement is a standard PennDOT template. We actually approved one last year for the 309 interchange program, if you'll recall as well. It is the assessment of staff that the sidewalk and curb ramp improvements are additional safety measures and they're necessary. And the installation costs are being borne by the township. So we would recommend you execute the agreement, which would authorize me to do so via this resolution before you tonight.
Thank you, Tom. And just to confirm, the curb and sidewalks are being installed at the cost of PennDOT.
Yes,
Right, very good.
absolutely.
So it'll provide very good connectivity all the way from the township building out to 309 now.
Yes, we'll actually have complete connectivity from even from Zaderlof at the corner of Ridgeview all the way to
All the
309.
way through. Wonderful. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
I had a quick comment, actually a question as well. I was just wondering, Tom, you did answer one of my questions. I was going to ask if this is a typical thing because I didn't know that PennDOT would put it in and then the municipality which it is in would assume responsibility. So that's a typical thing, right?
It is, yes.
Okay. And I saw that the ramps, they're ADA compliant and they're done within, the ADA requirements. Are the sidewalks themselves done within township requirements and built up to our township standards?
The ones out here for Walbert? Yes.
And the ones that PennDOT will be doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
It would either match or exceed our standards. And Tony, you would be able to confirm that, correct?
That's correct. Yep. Yes, that's standard for PennDOT.
Very good. Any other?
Tom, the other question is they're putting the sidewalks in like their right of way and out here in front of the municipal buildings, but for the betterment project, are they going to do sidewalks all along? So I'm looking up here at Lime Kiln, they're going to put it in front of the Park Mart. Are they going to go take it down to Huffmansville Road? And then that obviously goes back to the homeowner. Is it just for these specific parcels? Are they looking at putting the sidewalks in on a grander scale all up and down their betterment project?
It's my understanding, yes.
Any other comments? Any public comment? Hearing and seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt said resolution? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Just to clarify Chris's question, are you saying like any missing sidewalk connections? No, I don't believe that. I misunderstood your question.
Right. So obviously they're extending our sidewalk out to 309 because
Mhm.
that's our property. Right.
Right.
So I was just looking at, as I was going through, there are some where they're doing it like in front of the Park Mart, they're putting it there and they're putting it around the Burger King where it looks like it's their property, whatever, but it doesn't show it going down in front of the Burger King. So I was just wondering, they're just showing what they're going to do on public land. Is it going to be something that they're going to put in front of, like, say, the Burger King, and then the Burger King's responsible for maintaining that sidewalk?
No, I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. No, that is not
So they're just putting these sidewalks in
where
at
the
intersections.
township requested it or it's required by law because of the ADA requirements. Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Good. Moving on to agenda item 9, motions. 9A, we have a motion to proceed with advertising of bid for roadway asphalt milling project 2025-03. I'll ask our Director of Township Operations, Herb Bender, to please present.
Thank you. Attached to this memo is the complete bid specification for your reference in consideration for the 2025 asphalt milling project. Outlined in the attachment to this memo and on pages 13 and 14 in the technical specifications are the roads which we're requesting to have milled. The township will resurface these areas with Public Works employees. Just so you know, if this is approved, the advertisement in the paper will be on February 26, 2005. We're asking for the motion to proceed with advertising of the bid spec, and then Once we get those back, we will open it to bids at 10 a.m. on the certain day that Donna has that meets the time frame.
Very good. Thank you, Herb. Does the board have any comments or questions?
My only comment, I was thrilled to see Harold Avenue on there. I've often said if there were an award for worst road in the township,
We
and you
definitely,
drive up Harold Avenue, you're taking your life into your.
you're 100% correct.
The residents of Clifford Park are going to be extremely happy. I've gotten a lot of, questions about that one over the years. So it's going to really complete that whole project now that the construction's all done. So
Yeah, and that's the last one in that whole neighborhood. Then everything has been redone in there also.
Fantastic. Great work.
What about Walbert Avenue? Is that going to be a PennDOT resurfacing or?
Yeah, that would have to go through PennDOT since that's owned by the state.
Any other comments from the board? Or any public comment? Hearing and seeing none, do I have motion to proceed with advertising of bid for roadway asphalt milling project 2025-03?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Then item 9B, a motion to proceed with advertising of bid specifications for the Vistas Park Development Project 2025-02, subject to and conditioned upon receiving DCNR approval. And Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So the township has two grants that were awarded previously for this project. So the one is the DCNR grant and $200,000, and another is the DCED grant, $85,966. So the township has, in the time period since the grant programs were funded, the township has been working to administer the grant and to develop the specifications that are before you this evening. So the specifications include the new storm sewer system, grading, topsoil, seeding, and mulching. Last year, the township was working with DCNR internally as well in order to meet the requirements of the original grant application for plantings and nature play elements. So specifically, the grant had called for green and sustainable practices, including tree plantings and a rain garden. So DCNR had clarified that the township must incorporate those elements to the maximum extent that's possible. So the township staff then worked to incorporate the elements while still attempting to adhere to the reduced budget for the grant project. So a revised conceptual drawing was prepared with the assistance of Alexandra Long, who's a public works employee that has a horticultural background. And the vegetation and tree planting plan was sent to DCNR, and as well as the revised conceptual design and the specifications. And they deemed the work set forth for the concept plan to be acceptable and to meet the requirements of the scope of work. Township then reviewed the concept layout plan with residents during the Friday, July 19th, 2024 Movies in the Park event. And the township received positive feedback on that layout. The time extension was obtained from DCNR until December 31st, 2025. So that would probably be our last time extension for this project. So it is necessary, if the township wants to proceed, to bid out the project soon to ensure completion during the 25 construction season. The revised specifications as prepared by Pitcock, the township engineer, incorporate the changes requested by DCNR, and Mr. Bogart, who is the project manager for DCNR, just recently gave his feedback that he's in agreement with the overall form and content of the specifications. However, there's a little more administrative work he needs to just sign off on for the grant. Also included in your packet is the price quotations and design for the playground nature play area. And the township proactively obtained a grant extension for that project, portion of the project, until June 30th of next year. So the intent here is to advertise a notice of bidders, an invitation to bid, RFP, for the Vistas Park Development Project, subject to and conditioned upon receiving the final formal written approval of the DCNR grant project manager, Rick Bogart. And I would seek a motion to effectuate that, those next steps.
Very good, Tom. Thank you for preparing that memo and presenting it for the board. I know we've seen this a number of times. It's nice to see it finally come to a point where we can begin to bid this project out. I just want to thank you, the administration and staff, for sharing this park design with the neighbors last summer. I think it's important to have community outreach, and I appreciate you doing that and reporting back to the board that you received positive feedback. Open up to the board if there's any questions.
I do agree. I'm happy that this is coming to fruition now. And I wanted to give a special thanks to Ally Long, who helped with the plantings. So if you could pass that on to her, that would be
The board questions? Is there any public comment? Any online? Seeing and hearing none, do I have a motion to approve said motion?
great. So second,
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Then item 9C, we have a motion to proceed with Shop 2 roof replacement project. I'll again ask Herb Bender, Director of Operations, to present.
Thank you again. Public Works is respectfully requesting approval to proceed with the replacement of the roof on Shop 2 located at 2380 Ware Mill Road. After soliciting 3 quotes, we have reviewed and selected Alba Jolly Construction to perform the work. The total cost for the roof replacement is $23,500. The current roof has developed leaks that are worsening over time and causing the plywood beneath to rot. So we're asking for a motion to approve the roof replacement for Shop 2 in the amount of $23,500. On top of that, there is some other costs for the plywood. When we were going through the quotes, we saw they were anywhere from $100 to $120 a sheet. Well, then my cheapness crept in on me. So we worked it out with the construction people to allow us to supply the plywood at $52.08 a sheet, and they'll just install it at no cost for us. We saw the disposal of the roof was very high also. So with our rates through Mascaro, we're going to get a 30-yard dumpster put there, and we will dispose of the roof for around $1,500. So bringing the total cost to $26,041.60. This was anticipated and budgeted for in 2025 under the capital category for $40,000, leaving significant funds for the project. So we will be under budget. And so, we didn't just throw $40,000 in the budget. Attached in there is all 3 quotes. There is one for right around the $37,000.
Thank you, Herb. Thank you for including the 3 different quotes. I did notice the higher one, but thank you specifically for going the extra mile and looking to save, like you always do. It seems like when you present a project to the board with Public Works supplying the plywood and working to dispose of the old roof material. So thank you for being so conscious with our taxpayer funds when it's appropriate. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Herb, you did a complete background check on this roofer, right?
This roofer was actually recommended to us by a Public Works employee who has used him multiple times. I didn't even know this company existed. And he said, I used them for multiple roofs already. He recommended them. He said his work was great and everything. And that gentleman who has used them will be on site sporadically throughout the days while they're there doing it, making sure it's done.
Commercial work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and what will be installed is a Owens Corning shingle with a 50-year life warrant with the life cycle on it. And they also comes with a 25-year algae on it replacement. So why we went with that is part of the problem down there at Shop 2 now is the algae is growing and it lifts the tabs up. So that's why we thought the Owen Corning shingle was the best shingle to go with.
Excellent. Any other comments from the board? Is there any public comment? Do I have a motion to approve said motion? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere, Herb. Agenda item 9D, motion to extend the road building materials contract 2024-02 with New Enterprise Stone and Lime Company for an additional term of 1 year. Herb, if you'd please present.
Sure.
with uncertainty of fuel, oil and fuel prices, the township staff feels it is the best interest of the township to extend the road building materials contract, as the vendor has agreed to hold the same pricing for another year. In the current contract, we put it out to bid last year. We have the right to take 3 one-year extensions, long as they're willing to hold the same pricing, which they were. So we're just asking for a motion to proceed with the 1-year extension with the current pricing staying intact.
That's good news. Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment? Do I have a motion to approve said motion?
Motion.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you,
Thank you.
Herb. And item 9E, we have approval of the following motions. Formation of a South Whitehall Township America 250 PA ad hoc committee consisting of 2 members of the Board of Commissioners of Township staff. And then the second motion would be confirming the 2 members of the Board of Commissioners to serve on the ad hoc committee. Turn it over to Tom to present.
Thank you. So America 250 PA was formed to celebrate the 250th birthday of the United States in 2026 and Pennsylvania's leading role in the birth of our nation. So in my role as township manager, I've been participating as a member of the America 250 PA Lehigh County Planning Committee. So I've been able to procure some information about the plans for the Lehigh County portion of the project next year. But they are actually looking for volunteers to help with a number of their programs, projects, and initiatives. So the thought is that we would form an ad hoc committee here in South Whitehall to accomplish a couple things to see what level of involvement the township would like to partner with the county, if applicable, and not duplicate any events that they're holding, and also determine what events South Whitehall would be inclined to schedule and coordinate in 26 as well, and that will enable us to see what should be budgeted in 26 as well. So while we're starting very early, it will be July of 26 very shortly. So I'm looking to make sure that we are coordinating with the county and also celebrating America 250 PA here locally to the extent that it's determined to be reasonable and appropriate by the governing body. So with that, I seek a motion to form the ad hoc committee, and then as Board President Kelly indicated, to confirm the 2 members of the Board of Commissioners to serve on that committee.
Very good, Tom. Thank you. Thank you for representing the township with the county initiative and for bringing it back to our board for consideration for a committee. I think it's a wonderful idea. I didn't know if any of our board members are interested in serving. We need 2 members who might be willing to donate their time.
I definitely would. This is an area of interest to me, and I've read a lot about how the township conducted events with the bicentennial almost 50 years ago. So this would definitely be an interesting opportunity. So I'd happily volunteer for the committee.
Very good. Thank you, Commissioner Roth.
I'd also be interested.
We have 2. Is the board in agreement with the 2 volunteers?
Sure.
Okay. So I need to have a motion to approve formation of the South Whitehall Township America 250 PA ad hoc committee.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now I need a motion to confirm Commissioner Roth and Commissioner Hodges as the 2 board members to serve on the America 250 PA ad hoc committee. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you both for your willingness to serve on this committee. And item 9F, motion to approve use of remaining bond funds for the following 2 projects: concrete pad shade structure at Covered Bridge Park and ventilation improvements for the municipal building. And Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So following the successful completion of the municipal complex sidewalk project at the end of 2024, the township has calculated that we have $962.10 in funds that remain to be spent in the bond sinking fund, which is also known as the debt fund. So in order to satisfy all remaining arbitrage requirements by March 31st of this year, by doing so, we would avoid paying additional fees for the completion. The township must approve a cash outlay for project expenditure that allocates the remaining funds dollars. In other words, the project must be approved, the funds encumbered by way of a purchase order contract, and then the funds must be transferred to the relevant fund, an account line item that would be expended on or before March 31st, 2025. So Township Administration is recommending 2 projects to close out the remaining funds. The first is a concrete pad and a shade structure at Covered Bridge Park, which would be used to provide shelter for bands that are performing at the park facilities. So this would be located just south of the basketball courts at the at the other end of the park, off of River Road, and it would be situated in such a way, based on the feedback from the Park and Recreation Board, that it would be situated in a way that the bands could either face the basketball courts, or they could face the grass field, has been done traditionally for the summer concert series. It is important to note that if we place the pad and the shade structure in this location, we will have to take down a few trees. So just making you aware that it's my understanding that the trees are not in excellent condition, but they are alive. So they would not be there after the shade structure is put in. So the shade structure, the cost is estimated to be $12,849. And the township had acquired price quotations, and the stone and concrete and plantings, as well as LED lights around all go into that number, with the shade structure itself $10,249. And then the other component of this remaining expenditure would be ventilation improvements at the municipal building. So we've identified the need to put in 4 bathroom vents, and the purpose would be to increase the circulation of air in the bathrooms at the administration level. And I would seek a motion to approve the total expenditure of $15,962.10 for the 2 identified projects. So the concrete pad and the shade structure at Covered Bridge Park, and then the ventilation improvements at the municipal building. And then as part of the same motion, approve a transfer from the bond sinking fund to the capital fund in the amount of $15,962.10, and to book the expenses to general ledger line item 3040600340733.
Very good. Thank you, Tom. Just a question. Do these motions need to be made separately for the transfer of the funds, or is one motion?
I think one motion is appropriate.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for bringing these to the board for consideration to utilize the remaining funds. I think the concept of the concrete pad and shade structure is really fantastic. I know we've had issues with renting the band shell in the past, and to have our own structure there, I think will be very, very helpful and useful. I'm even thinking for the summer playground program with all the students down there. It looks wonderful. And the ventilation needs to be done, so all good.
The ventilation, why wasn't that done when the building was done?
That's a great question. But here we are.
I don't know. I can't give you that answer. It just was never done. So
My only question about the shade structure, what are the current capabilities if it's going to be used for the summer concerts, for example? Actually, 2 questions. How high up off the ground is the pad going to be?
6 inches, right?
the pad is actually going to be put back down on ground level because of being in the floodplain. We can't restrict the flow. So we're not going to raise the elevation. Just the poles will come up. That's it.
But it's 6 inches.
6 inches thick of concrete. Yes.
Right.
And then what are our electricity capabilities there? I don't know how we do it for this.
We'll have to run the generator that we normally run for the bands because we cannot put electric in the floodplain.
I have a quick question too. I saw that there's plantings in the project costs.
Mhm.
So are the trees that will be removed that aren't in great condition, I guess will be replaced by plantings surrounding that?
In Northampton.
Yes and no. So the $500 that's in the budget now for plantings, Ally's working on to beautify the area around the stage with not trees. But for Earth Day, which you're all welcome to come out and participate, we are buying $5,000 worth of trees, and we're going to plant them on Earth Day, all down by the new trail and everything like that. So we're going to be putting a lot of trees back in. So we're going to try to save as many as we can with this shade structure, but we will have to open the backside up also.
Great, thank you so much. That's really exciting to hear about the plantings along the Greenway. Really exciting.
Thank you. That was all Chris's idea.
Great news. Please let us know the date for Earth Day.
Yeah, when is Earth Day?
April 19th.
I don't remember if it was the 19th or 20th.
That's fantastic. Thank you for updating the board. Any other questions on this agenda item? Any public comment? I need a motion to approve use of remaining bond funds for the project of concrete pad shade structure at Covered Bridge Park and ventilation improvements at the municipal building.
So moved.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have nothing, I'm sorry, correspondence information, boards and commissions. Tom, if you'd update our meetings.
Yes, upcoming meetings are as follows. Monday, February 25th, 6 p.m., Landscape and Shade Tree Commission. Monday, February 24th, 7 p.m. is the Environmental Advisory Council. Wednesday, February 26th, 7 p.m., Zoning Hearing Board is actually canceled. Monday, March 3rd, 7 p.m. is the Public Safety Commission, and Wednesday, March 5th, 7 p.m. is Board of Commissioners. Because it's the winter time, please always make sure to check that the meeting is still being held on the date it's being held on the website, because hopefully we don't have too many more storms, but we do post when we're going to cancel due to inclement weather.
Very good. Great reminder, Tom. Thank you. We have no direction, discussion, no old business. Courtesy of the floor. Agenda item 13, again, opportunity for any member of the public to address the board. Is there anyone present this evening with any comment? Is there anyone online who'd like to address the board? Very good. Agenda item 14, I need a motion to authorize payment of invoices and disbursements. I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have no executive session to schedule this evening. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening.